Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I had a good concept for this video, but I'm getting eaten alive by mosquitoes, so forgive me, it's going to be a little off. There is a fine line. You need to pay attention to your intention. You are growing, evolving, changing, improving your character, your personhood, your intellect, your skill sets, etc. Just as we change naturally from childhood to adolescence, adolescence to adulthood, we don't just stop learning, growing, and expanding because we reached 18. You shouldn't be the same at 80 as you were at 18. You should be more mature, wise, kind, well-rounded, experienced, etc. Adaptable and flexible, because your life changes. You need to change, grow, and mature. You don't want to get stagnant and stuck behind. You shouldn't be changing, pushing yourself because you think you have to, because you think you should. You're changing because you want to, not because you have to, not because you're not good enough as you are. It's natural to grow and change and evolve over time. You're just doing what's natural, progression of personhood rather than stagnation. You're not trying to become better because you're not good enough now. And when you want to take a trip to go see a waterfall, are you going to Niagara Falls because you haven't posted anything fancy on your Instagram in a while and you want your life to look more exciting than it is? You go buy a diamond necklace or a nice Rolex watch to make you feel some aliveness, some excitement, some happiness for a brief moment, and then you realize it didn't change anything. Are you the kind that's in a relationship or a friendship and you are committed, but you always have one eye open, looking at the room, scanning the room for, a better friend, a better partner, thinking about where you live, imagining, fantasizing, all the trips you could take, all the experiences you could have over here. If, then, when happiness. Over here, I need to do this because my life is not good enough. Keeping up with the Joneses for appearances, for external validation. What is your motivation and intention for what you do and who you become? You can't run away from yourself. And once the newness of a new situation, you can move to New York, because New York is a prestigious place to live versus backwoods Michigan. And, that ups the caliber of who you are and your life, and that's going to make you happy and fulfilled. Eventually, not only are you end up living someone else's life and living solely off the approval of others, which is flippant and can change rapidly, but eventually the newness of that new person, say you do hop ship and you go to a new partner, you're bringing all your baggage with you, and eventually the newness wears off, and then you notice all their idiosyncrasies and less thans, and you still have one eye open, and you still bring all your bad habits from the last relationship because you haven't legitimately grown and changed into the new relationship, and you got one foot out the door looking for what else. And you move to New York, you've been there for a while, the thrill is worn down, it's now become familiar. Anything new will become familiar. And then you're in the same boat again once the thrill of the newness wears off. It wasn't legitimate growth or change for the experience of experiencing life. It was trying to run away from yourself, trying to change yourself because you're not good enough as you are, trying to change your life because you can't appreciate it as it is, because you're taking things for granted that you have. And you can keep looking over here. looking for external validation, looking for some new experience, for seeing that waterfall. That's going to make you happy, and it might for a while, but it's not going to last. You're going to need something else and something else and something else and something else. And the minute it becomes familiar and old hat, you have to go seeking something else. And it's great to have a life filled with fulfilling, adventurous experiences, because there's a lot of life to have and to taste as much. It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet of experience, to see as much and do as much in this world as you can with the time that you have. But you will forever be on a chase over here with one foot in, one foot out, never appreciating yourself, loving yourself as you are, feeling that you're good enough, that your life is good enough, valuable, worthwhile as it is. If you can't appreciate what you have here, now, as soon as the newness wears off, you won't appreciate what you have, who you are over there either. And you'll be in the same boat with the same personality, wanting something different, because you can't see what's right in front of your face right now. Make sure it's not coming from a lack of self-confidence. Make sure your intention is not coming from a place of lack of gratitude for what you have in front of you. If you love all you have is enough. For outside validation, pay attention to your intention, because you will follow you wherever you go. Newness wears off. Everybody's flawed. There is no perfect people. There is no perfect place. There is no amount of possessions that will make you happy if you can't be happy where you are. Because, my friends, a bird in the hand I knew you had a crank somewhere. A bird in the hand is worth two in that bush. This proverb means to not take for granted that which you have and risk it and throw it away for the unknown, for more, the unwise, uncalculated. It doesn't mean to settle, to be content, to be complacent. It means to not take for granted the bird you have right now, to go seeking more out of greed, out of insecurity, out of lack of understanding that you follow yourself everywhere you go, that newness wears off and you will be in the same position, same emotional state, that the work is internal, and not seeing the bird in your hand, not knowing you've got one right now, or thinking that those two birds are better than this bird you got right now, when really after you go and you seek them and you obtain them, then you've got two birds. And maybe you have more responsibility than you can handle. Maybe those two birds have a bad attitude and they're bitey and they're not what you wanted. You don't know until you get there. And then you gotta drop those two birds and go seeking after something else. If, then, when happiness, we follow ourselves wherever we go. If you want to see a waterfall in life, that's great. Life is a buffet filled with experience. We've got so many things we could touch, taste, smell, see, do in this life. Do and see all you can. Go and see that waterfall because you've never seen a waterfall and you'd love to see a waterfall in your lifetime. Not because you haven't posted anything fancy on Instagram in a while. And you worry what other people might think of you or your life as not being good enough. Don't be in a relationship with your partner and always have one foot out the door, one eye open, scanning the room everywhere you go for a better looking, more charismatic other person. You are in a relationship. You can't fully commit, can't fully appreciate what you have. That bird in your hand, if you're constantly scanning the room for another bird, and if you do get rid of the bird you have and go grab that new partner from the bush, you carry your old negative behaviors with you. Eventually that newness wears off. You notice that new person's idiosyncrasies and negative habits and the whole complete picture of them, and you're dissatisfied. They're now familiar, and you can see the complete picture, and you realize they have a lot of faults, maybe worse faults than the person that you had. And so you now have a different bird, but the same person. You still have one eye open, scanning for what's next. Everything new becomes old and familiar. Be sure of your intentions. Be sure you're not seeking outside validation. Be sure you're pushing yourself to grow and evolve because you want to, not because you think you should or you have to, or you're not good enough, or your life is not good enough. That New York somehow is better than backwoods Michigan. That if I move there, I will be better. My life will be more exciting until it becomes familiar again. And maybe I've lost all my friends. Maybe I've lost a lot of things that I admire and enjoy and appreciate, and I'm now stuck in this big bustling city. And I can't appreciate a nice walk in the woods because there's none. Maybe I end up losing more than I gain. But regardless, I'm still the same. I'm just in a new place with a new person, being the same old me. So pay attention to your intention when you grow. The quote of the day, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. This old proverb means to not take foolish risks for something new and different. Take for granted what you have right now for something that may just be a projection of your imagination for the wrong intended reasons. Risk or legitimately lose all you have because you can't see the abundance you have. You can't appreciate what you have right now in front of you, this bird in your hand, the relationship you have, the positives about where you live, the positives about yourself. You can't appreciate your life in the moment as it is. You won't be able to appreciate your life when you change it, when you change yourself, when you change your location, when you change your relationship. To that big question mark, those two birds could be vile. They could be vultures. You don't know. And you don't see clearly how cute and adorable and wonderful and valuable what's right in front of you, what is. And no matter what you change, you will take that attitude with you. And you won't be able to appreciate what's over there. Like you can't appreciate what's here. If, then, when happiness. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. When you grow yourself and you expand your life, pay attention to your intention. Is it for outside validation? Is it a lack of self-esteem? Is it for society's standard? Is it because you aren't grateful for what you have? You can't see what you have. Is it the lack of awareness that you take yourself wherever you go, newness wears off? and everything becomes familiar, the happiness of that doesn't last. When you can fully commit, fully embrace, and fully experience what you have right here in your hands, in front of you in your life right now, you will grow to be more fulfilled, more happy. You can move, you can change, you can grow, you can adapt, you can evolve. Make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, or it will leave you feeling just as empty when the newness wears off. And you might regret what you've lost by making those changes. Be sure you can appreciate the bird in your hand before venturing for the bird in the bush. Love you guys. Good morning. I'm getting eaten alive by mosquitoes, and it is about to rain on my head. Pretty bird, pretty bird, pretty bird. Good morning. Goodbye. Love you guys. Have a good day. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. You take yourself wherever you go. Everything new becomes old and familiar. Appreciate what you have right now in your life, in yourself. If you can appreciate here, you can appreciate there. If you can't appreciate here, you won't appreciate there. Good morning. Goodbye.